Hello everyone, I'm Kat from the Littlestown Library of the Adams County Library System, and welcome to our reading of stories honoring Native American Heritage Month. Today we are reading a story from The Treasure of American Indian Tales by Theodore Whitson Ressler, and the story is called Atagahi, the Secret Lake. Somewhere in the high ridges of the Great Smokies, there was believed to be a lake called Atagahi, the Secret Lake. Few people had heard of it, and this is a story of a young Cherokee brave and his sister who enjoyed the secret of this beautiful lake nestled in the Great Smokies. Utni placed his bright, shiny new knife on the ground next to his new moccasins and admired the gleaming of the blade in the sun. He was a young Cherokee brave, rather tall for his age, but very powerfully built and with sharp, penetrating black eyes. He was too busy admiring the glint of the metal in the sun to notice the approach of Njeni, his sister, until the shadow of her body crossed the knife blade and shut off the sun. "Get out of the way of the sun," cried Utni. "You are blocking the rays from shining on my knife." Njeni made no effort to move, and so Utni repeated his request. Njeni could not understand Utni's demand that she move, but he was her big brother, and so she must obey. As she stepped aside, she inquired of Utni why he watched so intently the blade of his knife in the sun. Utni, of course, now being a man, did not want to give a childish answer such as, "I am watching the blade shine in the sun." So he quickly gave another answer. "I am receiving a message from the sun." "What sort of message?" asked Njeni. "Oh, the sun is telling me where Atagahi is, and maybe if I study the blade long enough, the sun will tell me just where to find it." This, Utni thought, would satisfy his little sister, but her curiosity was too great, and she asked that Utni take her to the secret lake, Atagahi. Now, Utni realized he had gone a little too far in his bragging, but being very stubborn, he refused to tell his sister that he really could not find the secret lake by looking at the knife blade in the sun. Utni made up his mind that he would have to find the secret lake, Atagahi. He rose and placed his knife carefully in his belt and, taking his sister's hand, started toward the ridges of the Great Smokies. For 2 hours, Utni and Njeni climbed higher and higher into the mountains. But as the day wore on, Utni began to feel a bit frightened, for they were a long way from home and had come upon nothing that looked like a lake. Finally, Njeni stopped a few feet behind Utni and called out, "Let us rest here for a while, big brother. I am getting tired. Besides, it is late and I am hungry. Let us go back to the village and look tomorrow." Of course, Utni secretly thought that was a wonderful idea, for he was tired and hungry too. He agreed to follow his little sister's idea. As he grasped his sister's hand to start home, his foot kicked a small stone, which rolled off the side of the trail and down a small embankment of earth, and landed at the bottom with a splash. Utni and Njeni looked at each other with great surprise, and then carefully stepped to the edge of the path. Utni pushed aside the branches that grew along the side of the trail, and they both peered down into the waters of a beautiful blue-green lake nestled among the trees and rocks that hid it from human eyes along the trail. They had found it! They had found Atagahi! It was fast growing dark, so the two children decided to return to their village and come back the following day to the secret lake. When they returned to their village, the older braves wanted to know where they had been. Njeni said, "We were looking at Utani's knife blade in the sun, and the sun told us where to find Atagahi." The older Cherokee braves all laughed, and laughed very loudly. But Njeni and Utani did not laugh, for they knew where Atagahi was, and they could go there any time they pleased. They never told anyone their secret, but every once in a while, if you look very carefully up the trail into the mountains, you might see 2 Indian children kicking stones off the side of the trail. Thank you for joining us today, and we will see you next time.